What's going on with you guys, man? Welcome back with another video. So in this video, I want to be completely transparent and really tell a story, an experience that happened to me when I was about 12 years old. And I understand that some of y'all are you might unsubscribe from this channel and you might want to leave negative comments and whatnot. I can care less about that, to be honest with y'all, because this is about me telling my story and me walking out in bravery and boldness to tell this, because for a lot of men, we never want to admit anything that has happened to us in terms of trauma, sexual assault, and whatever have you. So this is something that I've been wanting to talk about, or avoiding to talk about for a long time. And I have been avoiding of talking about this because it's hard to talk about something like that, that's happened to you when you were a kid. And so I'm just going to say straight, when I was 12 years old, I was sexually assaulted. And it was by another guy, male friend. Back in the day, he was about 3 years older than me. And it definitely affected my life in a negative way. Did a lot of damage. A lot. And so, to give y'all some context, at 12 years old, I didn't know anything about sex. I didn't know anything about the birds and the bees. I didn't know anything about, the sex talk and all that stuff. I was very much, of course, I wasn't having any intercourse with no girl at all. I was pretty much unaware of intercourse at that age. And I lived in a neighborhood, an environment that was highly sexualized. A lot of the younger folks, like kids my age, they're highly sexual, always fornicating, always, talking about, the dudes always talking about, smashing girls and all that stuff. And I had moved into this environment, and I had a whole bunch of friends in my previous environment where I went to school, and I pretty much had to move away from them. I had to move away to a different town. And so moving into a different town, that required me to go to a different school district. And so that's what happened. So I had to leave my old friends behind. And at that time, I didn't like that. I wasn't happy about that at all. I was very upset. I was very mad. And I was angry. Because essentially, from a social standpoint, I had to start over. I had to start over from the very beginning in terms of making new friends, being in a different environment, a different school. And it was intimidating because everybody knew each other. And I didn't know anybody there. I was completely the new kid on the block, for the most part. And so I moved to this new neighborhood that was not the best. This neighborhood was more aggressive in terms of a lot of fights breaking out, robbery, crimes, crimes here and there. You know, essentially the hood. That's pretty much why I was moving into the hood. And so these particular friends that I came across, that I started to make within a month of me moving in this new neighborhood, it was kind of cool at first because I made new friends, right? And so within the neighborhood, and these people were about 4 or 5 houses down from me. And so I'm just going to cut right to the point where things got weird. Things got really strange, took a turn for the worse when it came to me and this friend. And by the way, we're no longer friends. Okay? Thank God. But this particular friend, I found out that he had some issues. I don't know what type of issues he had, but he was very persistent when it came to trying intercourse with me. Okay? And he was over my house one day, and he basically tried to, seduce me into having intercourse with him, having sex, right? And I was very confused. And I was just like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean have sex with you? And like, I knew what he meant. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, I never even tried having sex before. But I knew that having intercourse with another guy was gay. It was not right. Like, something in me knew that what he was trying to convince me to do with him was not right. And so I said, nah, I'm not doing that. That's not me. I'm not gay. Not happening. So at that time, I rejected him. But the crazy thing was he tried to seduce me into, convince me into thinking it was all good. Like me and my friends, we used to do the same thing for, to each other. And I'm just like, what? Hold up. What do you mean you and your friends used to do that to one another? Used to have intercourse? And I'm just like, I was completely taken aback from what he was saying. He was saying that, him and his friends would do the same thing. There was nothing wrong with it. So you guys pretty much see where this is trying to go, right? It's like the demon in this guy was trying to convince me, someone that's of a naive vessel, that that type of intercourse, same-sex intercourse it's right. There's nothing wrong with it. And, at that time, I was completely naive, and I'm like, but I turned that down because I knew it wasn't right. But I was still friends with this guy. I still came over his house to hang out, and he would come over my house to hang out, right? But a month later, we had a sleepover. Like, I had a first sleepover, and I didn't really know what to expect. Because a month prior, he was trying to seduce me, and I wasn't having it, and rejected him. So after that, I didn't think nothing of it, of that interaction, that weird interaction. And so I thought this sleepover was just, okay, a bunch of bros hanging out, playing video games, watching a movie. I didn't think nothing of it. Okay, mind you, I'm 12 years old, and I have no father figure, by the way, to really teach me things about the birds and the bees. What's right, what's wrong, this and that, the third. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, in my small brain, I didn't really know any better, but I knew better enough that two guys having intercourse is not right. And I was not going to go along with that. But I was still this guy's friend, because for me, I was at a point in my life where I had no friends. Mind you, as I said in the beginning of this video, that I had to move from my neighborhood that I was like comfortable with, and move away from the school that I had a lot of friends. You know, I had more connections there. And so when I had to move to a different neighborhood, a different town, I had to start over and make new friends, which was the hard part. So these were the type of friends that I unfortunately made, and it didn't turn out well. So during the sleepover, this was the same night where my mom and her ex-boyfriend at the time, you know, they was having their arguments. They was having problems. My mother was not happy with the man that she was with, and he was somewhat verbally abusive and causing her a bunch of stress and all this stuff. And there was just a lot of BS going on at that time in my life. And so essentially for me, I was pretty much vulnerable, where I didn't have no one to really talk to in terms of like problems and questions about life and this, and, you know, questions about this and that and the third. No one to actually guide me in a better direction. And so, you know, during the sleepover, you know, we had like a futon bed or something like that, foldable bed. You know what I'm saying? And so, without really expecting anything unusual happening, you know, I allowed him to sleep on the futon, you know, along with me. I didn't think nothing was going to happen. This is me at the time at 12 years old, you know, expecting nothing to happen unusual. Okay. This is a month later, after he had tried to convince me to have intercourse with him. And so the part that happened is, you know, something I never want to actually talk about with anyone and never tell anyone. And so he basically tried to sexually assault me while I was sleeping. Right? You know, I was half asleep and I felt something sharp within me, and it's like I didn't know what it was. I felt like maybe I was dreaming or something. I don't know. But then I woke up quick, and then I just saw him trying to like sexually assault me, sexually violate me. You know what I'm saying? And he immediately jumped from the bed because, you know, he got caught in the act of pretty much trying to rape, I don't want to say that word, my bad, grape me in my sleep. You know, because I saw that my pants were pretty much pulled down. And so I was very, very confused, but also angry at the same time. And also very shocked. There was a lot of emotions going on with me at that moment, because I'm thinking this is my friend and trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I invite him to sleep over, essentially, and he pulls that shit. And this is what he does. So I gave my trust to another person, let this person sleep over, and, this is what happens. Going into, I guess, bed, going to sleep, I wasn't expecting nothing to happen. But I guess, I'm the fool for thinking nothing was going to happen, that the devil wasn't going to try to attack me that night. Obviously, we can pretty much sum up to that. That was a demon inside my friend at that time that was under that homosexual spirit and tried to convert me into that alternate lifestyle alongside him. Now, he was someone that was always bragging that, yeah, I get a lot of girls, I get a lot of females, this and that and the third, always bragging about him fornicating with other girls. And a part of me knew that was cap, because how are you saying you liking all these girls and you get all these girls, but you also like dudes as well? Make it make sense. So even at that time when he was trying to seduce me, he showed exactly who he was at that point. But for me, I didn't have enough boldness to cut off that friendship at that time, because for me, it was about surviving for like friendships that I didn't have at that age. So, of course, the devil knew I was vulnerable. He knew that there was, turmoil going on in my family, because I was going through a lot at that age. My grandmother was very sick at that age. My mom was in an abusive relationship. Me and my older brother, we didn't really get along that well. So it's like going to a different environment, a different school, leaving my friends behind. I was just dealing with a lot of shit, man. I was vulnerable as hell. So it's like, after that happened, I didn't know how to even go about telling anyone. Because then I would feel like it's my fault, or like, oh, you probably enjoyed that or something, like weirdly enough or something. Like, I don't know. It was just hard to really like tell people without judgment. And so I never asked for that to happen to me, but it did. And so the saddest part was I still remained this guy's friend up until about 2012, when I finally had the boldness to cut him off from my life and stop being his friend. And the thing was, like, he tried to approach me when I was coming home from school one afternoon, because I was like at that time I was kind of avoiding him, right? And then he finally caught up to me, tried to talk to me, whatnot. I just kept walking right past him, didn't even bother to look back, just kept him moving. Like, he was just trying to get a hold of me. I just kept walking. It was at that time I had the boldness to walk away from a friendship like that wasn't healthy, that wasn't positive for me at all. Like this was I don't know what type of friendship this was. If I have to be honest, it felt more so like I don't know. I got to think more about that. But this is something that I've confessed to the Most High. Like, he knows what happened to me. But I had to come to him with that story, with that experience, and go in depth about it. Because he was the only one I can talk to about this, because when I tried to tell someone else about it, and the person that I tried to tell of what happened was his sister, right? I tried telling his sister about it. And guess what she did? She laughed at me. Yeah. She laughed. And so I knew, to her that was a joke. For me, it wasn't no joke. And I never bothered to tell no one. I kept it silent. I kept it to myself for a long time, up until now. And it is what it is. Because if that was the reaction that I received, then who's to say that someone else is who's to say that someone else is not going to laugh at that too? I can tell my brother, I can tell another person, another friend, they could laugh at me too. And so the result of that experience happening, of me being sexually assaulted by my friend, a lot of negativity came my way. I got attacked a lot, a whole lot. And I feel like I made an agreement with the demon of pornography and, entertaining different type of pornography, homosexual porn, transgender porn, all that. That was the agreement that I made with those demons. And it made me a little bit curious and kind of question my sexual identity for years and years because of that. And so that's what ultimately led to, masturbation years down the line. It pretty much led to my porn addiction. Not right away, but like everything was a seed planted in the mind. And honestly, that wasn't really the first time that I was exposed to sexual morality, perversion, homosexuality, those different spirits, because it pretty much was the case of me growing up, where, I don't know, I can talk about other things like that happened in a different video. Like, I just want to kind of cover this and address this experience. But it's crazy, man, because it did a lot of damage. And of course, I still liked girls. I still liked women, even after that experience, because I knew I wasn't gay. I knew I wasn't on that side. And there were so many times where kids in my school thought I was gay. People from the neighborhood thinking that I was gay keep asking me, are you gay? Are you homosexual? And all. I'll get all these type of questions. And I'll keep saying, no, I'm not. I've had a multitude of people thinking and assuming that I was homosexual. And that really bothered me. That really angered me. and really caused me to lash out because I knew I wasn't. It's like people were trying to project or assume that I was this way so that they could antagonize me, so that they could possibly, if other dudes thought I was homosexual, then that was their excuse to jump me or attack me, to assault me and whatever. But people, I felt like, were just looking for an excuse not to like me because I went to a new school soon after that, and I went through a lot. I went through a lot of BS, man. And I was just a new kid on the block. And so, of course, I went through a little bit of bullying and, antagonizing from other kids. But for other kids to think that you're gay all the time, it does something to your psyche. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it was unfair to project that and assume that onto me when I never even liked dudes in the first place. Because even though I was going through the sexual identity confusion, at the very heart, I always knew I liked girls and women, that I want to be with a woman. I always knew that. So the reason why I never told this was because of course judgment from other people and people laughing at me and stuff like that, because I was laughed at by somebody that I did tell this to, and that did hurt me a lot, and it caused me to not tell nobody. And so I was dealing with the same-sex attraction for years and years, like in my mind, in my heart. And, I got into the whole porn addiction because of that. Watching all different types of adult film. Stuck in that bondage, stuck in that whole stronghold for years. And for me to tell this story and this experience, I feel like it's lifting a weight off my shoulders. And this is a weight that needs to be lifted off because I no longer want to hide it. I no longer want to, keep it locked inside. And so I just want to be honest and upfront and let y'all know what happened to me when I was 12 years old. Because I asked the Most High before I recorded this, I asked him for bravery and the boldness to tell this. And so, listen, if y'all want to judge me, if y'all want to come at me in the comment section and whatever and be disrespectful, just know I can care less about that, because I feel better about myself knowing that I'm coming forth and that I'm telling my story to let all this out, to relieve myself of the burden. So you can unsubscribe, you can do whatever. I can care less. I don't care about losing no support. I can care less. This is about me coming and telling my story, because this has been a stronghold on my life for years, and I'm tired of it being a stronghold. I'm tired of not telling it. I'm tired of just keeping it boxed in, straight up. So hopefully as well, this, me telling my story, me coming about my sexual assault and that experience, hopefully it provokes and inspires other people to come forth with telling their story. You know what I'm saying? And especially for men who dealt with sexual assault, it's not an easy thing to communicate with people. It's not an easy thing to tell people, because there's a lot of shame and guilt. There's a lot, even confusion. There's a lot of, there's just a lot of negative stuff with that. So, if you made it through the end of the video, throughout the entire video, thank you for that. I appreciate you. And so, just want to say thank y'all for watching, man. This is Warrior for Christ, and I'm out, and peace.